What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the main channel. Finally, I know. We've been away from the main channel for so long. We've been doing endeavors on separate channels, but today we're back and we're going to be making some tier lists for, or we're going to be making a tier list for the top teams in CSGO. So, for those of you that know, I've been doing reviews of tournaments and such, and reviews of all sorts of things on my second channel, on New Robin Lol 2. I just said that. Maybe something there or there popped up that gave you a link to the channel. If it didn't, it'll be in the description. I hope it worked. I want to be a cool YouTuber that does all the cool things. It's kind of fun. But for those of you that want to watch those, you can go over there and do that. But since I've been doing that, I've been spending a lot of time analyzing CSGO content and watching the top teams in CSGO, as well as B tier and C tier tournaments, to, kind of keep up with what's currently happening within that scene. So through what I've found out and what I'm able to conjure up from my time so far in the CSGO community, I want to make a tier list and kind of make my predictions on who the top teams for this year are going to be, who's going to win the most tournaments and the most cash, and compete at the highest level this year. So let's go ahead and I have this tier list here with 5 separate tier. Actually, I think I'm going to delete this row. I'm going to have these 4 categories, and then this one, are you even a CS team, losers? I'll use this for teams that are either incredibly bad, or teams that I actually don't really know all that well, that I can't really decide to put them in any of the other categories. So we have a lot of A tier and S tier, kind of teams competing in those sorts of tournaments on this list, but we also have some teams that even I haven't really heard of, I don't really know much about. Some ESEA teams and stuff within this list. There's some blanks there. That's cool. So we can go ahead and get right into it, and we're starting off with Nadas Vincere, Navi. They're obviously an S tier team. They're a top team. They just made the playoffs of Katowice. They have Simple. They're going to compete at a top level for a long time. Skade, I've seen them competing in ESEA. They're kind of a lower tier premier team. I'd say they're a C tier for this. Namiga, I think I can put on the same level as them. I think they've actually lost to Skade not too long ago in ESEA Premier. So I can't really justify putting them much higher than that, but I think that they have potential to do pretty good throughout the year. Team Liquid, honestly, for me, I'm going to have to put it S tier. Team Liquid got to the grand finals of the Global Challenge in 2020. They just semi-finaled, they medaled in Katowice, and for the foreseeable future, since they picked up Grim, they've been playing really well, and I honestly think they could do really good, potentially even make a run at the major later this year. Here's AGO. They're also not very good. They're kind of a ESEA team, not really a team that I can see competing at any S tier or really even many A tier tournaments throughout the year. I can't really see it. AGF, I think it's the same deal. I don't think they'll be going too far, but I think they're definitely better than the lowest tier. Apex, they had a former 100 Thieves member for a while before he got picked up by Extremum. I think they're a good team and potential. What? Okay, well, remember that I said this because we won't be seeing it. Apex, I think, is B tier, and potentially we could see if they make some runs in tournaments, we could see them show up at Cologne, maybe. All depends on how it goes. Astralis is obviously S tier. This one doesn't really even require much thought. Astralis will be S tier and will be the number 1 tier until their roster dissolves. I can't really see them not being S tier just by kind of falling off. I think they'd have to lose their roster for Astralis to not be in S tier. Avent Gaming, an Oceanic-based team. I like them. I'm not gonna lie. I have gotten some good enjoyment out of watching them play teams like Order and Renegades throughout 2020, but I don't think they'll be competing in any S tier tournaments or A tier tournaments outside of Oceania, though, because that kind of belongs to Renegades and Renegades exclusively. But I enjoy watching them, and I think they're a pretty good team. Big Clan, Berlin International Gaming. I like them. I have their jersey in the back. Honestly, an enjoyable team to watch, and certainly a top 10 team in the world right now, and I can see them competing at all the Masters tournaments and potentially even making a playoff run at the Major later this year. But S tier might be a bit of a stretch because I'd say my S tier teams are the favorites to make finals for the Major and such later this year, but I don't think Big Clan will be able to make that big of a run. I don't know who this is. Contact Gaming. I know who Contact Gaming is. They are just incredibly bad. They competed at Flashpoint. They're a Flashpoint partner. They're not good and won't ever be good. I don't know who this is. This is Chiefs Esports Club from Oceania, if I'm not mistaken. Worse team than Avent, and certainly doesn't really have much promise for the future of their Counter-Strike team, but I suppose in the Oceanic scene they'll be a top contender. Okay. Cloud9. Cloud9's a tough one. Cloud9, we're gonna do Cloud9 last. Complexity. Complexity's B tier. Complexity definitely has potential, but unfortunately for them, their pickup of JKS just hasn't really gone over the way I expected it to. And really, I think that they're not a contender for any major runs in Masters or major events, but I think they have the potential to make it there. So I'm going to have to put them in B tier because they're a team that I think can kind of show up at the events but not really make a run once they're there. Is this... Oh, no, it's not. This is Copenhagen, but the Flames are down here. So... What is this, like an academy team or something? Well, I'll just do the Flames at the end then. Don't know who this is. Dignitas. Dignitas is not good. They also competed at Flashpoint. I think they actually made a playoff run at Flashpoint, but I'm not sure if they actually ended up making any cash. They lost Get Right, who's now an analyst, and I'd say Dignitas doesn't really have much of a chance to make any runs for Masters or Majors later this year unless they pick up a new roster. So as of right now, of course all of these things, as I'm saying this right now, February 27th, 2021, they're all subject to change. Dignitas could, for all I know, they could release their entire roster and buy out Astralis. Obviously, I don't think that will happen, but nothing is out of the picture entirely, and Dignitas could end up making a run with a different roster, so I'm basing it not based off the team and what I think they'll do, but based off their current roster that they have right now. Ents is B tier. Ents is another team that, throughout Pro League and such, could potentially squeak their way into playoffs, get some Pro League points, end up working their way into a Masters event or something later this year like Cologne. I don't think they'll end up at the Major, but I could be wrong. Ents has had some new pickups recently, and potentially with their newer rosters, it's really annoying me that Apex is here and Big is here, but you can't see them. I think Ents has potential, but I don't know if they really have any any way to do anything crazy. Endpoint I think is in the same boat. Endpoint isn't phenomenal, and really I don't think has much promise to make any crazy runs, but another team that I think I could see being kind of being around. Extra Salt, they're a ESEA team, a good team, but not a team I can see really making any runs. Probably won't even win ESEA Premier. That'll probably end up going to Sprout or Triumph. I don't remember if Extra Salt is EU or NA. So I think Triumph will win the NA one. I don't remember if Extra Salt is in NA or if they're in EU. EU will go to Sprout. NA will go to Triumph as far as I'm concerned right now. So Extra Salt, not really great. Evil Geniuses. I'm willing to put Evil Geniuses in A tier. Evil Geniuses ended up squeaking wins off of Vitality recently and almost beating G2. They could have ended up making a playoff run. They just ended up getting unlucky sometimes. And I think they're in the boat of they could kind of be a dark horse going into big tournaments. FaZe Clan in that same boat. FaZe Clan always has the potential to go far in tournaments with their new roster. They haven't really shown much yet, but that, as far as I'm concerned right now, I think that could just be growing pains with the new roster. They haven't really had everyone on board for a long time, so their Katowice run was cut pretty short. But I definitely think FaZe Clan, if they end up meshing together the way that I think they can, then I'd say they definitely have a chance to go far. Fnatic won't be doing anything big this year. They have potential to show up, though. They lost in the play-ins of Katowice, and I think that'll end up being the case for Cologne later this year and potentially even the major as well. Forza's not good. Forza's a team that used to be good, but is now kind of been demoted down to an ESEA team, and I don't think they'll be doing much throughout the year. FunPlus Phoenix, I think they have potential to end up working their way up. They did really good in DreamHack Open, netting wins over Spirit and Big Clan, but right now they don't really have many Pro Tour points. They don't really have any shot. They didn't really get on the RMR circuit. They just got their new roster. So right now I think that it's kind of a trek up the mountain for FunPlus, so I think just getting there will be enough for them this year. Furia's really good. Furia has potential. I think Furia could be in that S tier, but seeing as they weren't able to pull it out against CIS teams like Virtus Pro, I think Furia deserves the A tier over the S tier. Just for that reason, they weren't able to get it done at the times when it really, really mattered. I think G2 is kind of in that same boat. This is G2. There's a little red dot there that you can see. G2 definitely has potential, but unfortunately right now with Nico, he hasn't been playing it to the best of his ability. If they can end up pulling something out of the hat, I think they could definitely end up making a crazy good run, but that kind of all relies on Nico right now. Galaxy Racer, they're another ESEA team as far as I know, and I'd say they're not very good. Gambit is in the finals of Katowice. I think that might kind of be a bit of a fluke, I'm not gonna lie, but I think Gambit definitely has potential, so I'm not gonna put them in S tier because I wouldn't bet on them to win any events after this, but I definitely think they have a chance tomorrow in the Grands, and I'm really excited to see what they can end up pulling out. I don't even know who you are, really. Gen.G doesn't even have a roster anymore, do they? Let's see. Disbanded. Oh, that's where Gen.G will go. I don't know who you are. Havu, I think they got invited to a tournament that I just saw on Liquipedia. I don't remember what it was called. I'll potentially mention it in my video that I make later today about today's Katowice games. But They have potential to do something, but not nearly the potential that these higher tier teams. I'm actually gonna move Avant Gaming down to C tier. I don't think they deserve to be in the same realm as Fun Plus and Fnatic, Complexity, Apex, etc. Hellraisers is... No, they're not great, if I'm being completely honest with you. They used to be better, and I think they have some potential to make some runs in lower C tier sort of tournaments throughout the year, but I don't think... I think that's kind of what they'll be limited to, like in ESEA. Heroic I'm gonna put at A tier. Heroic, 3 months ago, I would have put them in S tier. Last week, I would have put them in A tier. This week, I was thinking about putting them in B tier. And they just got 2 new players replacing Nico and Borup, which personally is a decision that I didn't agree with. So, not my best bet for a team, but I'll put them in A tier because I think they have similar chances to go far in tournaments as FaZe Clan, Furia, etc. High Coast, I don't even know. I've heard of you, not really. Illuminar is not insane. Illuminar is an ESEA team that won't win. This is the Spanish Shark team that I don't remember. The Boars aren't even good. K23 had like 1 good game. I think they're like a stream team. I don't know who this is. LDLC has our former major winners reduced to a team that hasn't even been able to pick up a winning record in ESEA Premier. So, I'm going to start speeding through these because I don't want this video to be incredibly long. I've seen this logo before. They're not good, though. Same here. Lyngby Vikings, they're ESEA. But not phenomenal. Mad Lions, they made a decent run in Flashpoint 2. I'd say they're kind of on the level of B tier. MIBR is B tier. MIBR is probably the second best Brazilian team to Furia, so I'd say they definitely have potential. Mouse Sports, likewise, is B tier, and I'd say, you know what, I'm gonna move Heroic down to B tier. Along with Mouse Sports has been kind of lackluster, and since losing Chris J, they kind of don't look phenomenal. Movistar Riders, I enjoyed watching their game. They played Cloud9 recently. They ended up losing, but they brought 1 game to, I think, overtime in the play-ins, so I really enjoyed their games, and I want to see them do well, but I don't really think they have much promise. Mythic is an ESEA team, along with the team that I used to think of when I thought of Triumph. I don't think they're on the same level as Triumph anymore, though. So, oh well. Navi Junior is not good. But potentially one player could be breakout and end up making the main roster. Nexus Gaming is fine, I guess. I've never heard of you guys. Ninjas in Pajamas are A tier. No, they're A tier. They've been able to make runs, and I think they looked very, very solid. Even in the group stage of Katowice, they just ended up suffering some poor losses to CIS and weren't able to really come back from it. North, I think, is on the same level. They're a B-tier team. They're really good on Nuke. They have great success on their map picks, but aren't always able to pull out the series the way they want. So they're the kind of team that ends up losing a lot of series 2-1, some really close games, and they're just not always able to pull it through. So I think they have potential if they're able to really surprise some people throughout the year. OG's fine. OG just doesn't really have the opportunities that a lot of these other teams do. I think with their recent benchings, they're looking to bring in some new players. potentially those players could end up boosting the roster to heights that people aren't really expecting. Oh my god, there's so many teams. Order is an Oceanic team competing against teams like Renegades. They're pretty decent, and I'd say they're kind of on the same level as the other ESEA teams. Same story with Pact, Premium. Product X isn't. I've never heard of them. Here's another ESEA team. Renegades. Renegades is probably the best C-tier team, I'd say. Renegades was probably the only C-tier team here that will probably make the major, because they'll end up making it from Oceania. But I don't think they really have the potential to win any games, unless they're playing other like Asian or Oceanic teams in the Masters or Majors events. Nobody's. Saw's an ESEA team. They're pretty good. I think they're kind of up here, kind of. So I'd say they have potential to make some money off ESEA tournaments and maybe even surprise everyone and win one and end up in EPL Season 14. Here's the other Sharks team. Sinners. Sprout's good. Sprout will I think win ESEA Premier and end up in EPL Season 14. They're my pick for that, so I'd actually end up putting them in B tier. I think they have just as much potential. Who's this? Envy? No. Team 1. Team 1's not very good. They lost to Renegades in the play-ins and weren't able to make any wins happen at Katowice, so I think that'll end up being the case for most of their games. Here's another ESEA team. Spirit's phenomenal. Spirit looked really good. Spirit destroyed Astralis in the group stage of Katowice, and they ended up making semifinals. So they were a top 4 team at a Masters event. So along with Gambit and Liquid and Virtus Pro, were the top teams at Katowice. Here's a nobody. Zaiwu led Vitality. I think Vitality is probably hovering around the S tier, A tier kind of level. They're not really set in stone either way. I'd put them in S tier just because they have the star factor of Zaiwu, and I think they were able to squeak out some really good wins towards the end of 2020, finally being able to pick up their first tournament win of 2020. Their shelf kind of was kept empty throughout 2020 at the hands of Heroic, who beat them in the finals of the Cologne online circuit, which was supposed to be a Masters event. And they weren't able to squeak out DreamHack Open Fall, so they were finally able to get something, and I think they'll be able to do that likewise in 2021. There's some nobodies. Tricked Esports is like meh. Here's Triumph. I like Triumph. I think they're a B tier. I don't know what they'll be able to do, but they still have Shakezola. They've lost a lot of their players to either to Furia. They lost one to Liquid, and they lost one to Valorant. So, good for them to be able to hang on after all that adversity, and especially after kind of what went down in the NA scene at the end of 2020 with like Chaos. They were able to hang on and stick around in the scene, so I want to see them do good. Tyloo's an Asian team. They were supposed to be able to make a run to Katowice, but they weren't able to make it because of COVID-19 restrictions. They wouldn't have won it anyway. Same kind of deal with these guys here. Along with Tyloo, same region, same sort of deal. Virtus Pro, I'd say Virtus Pro is actually quite possibly the best team in the world right now. They've been able to take down Astralis and Liquid over the last 2 days, and potentially win Katowice soon. So good for them, and I think they'll be able to make a run. Versus Prodigy, they're nobodies. Windstrike team, they're a C. Wisla All In, they're a C. There's some nobodies. Xset's team is an all-women roster, and not to be disrespectful, I think they're quite possibly the best female team that exists, but they haven't really shown that they can compete on the same level when they get to the tournaments with men. They competed in the DreamHack Open, I think November, and they got last. They kind of got destroyed, so I don't really see them doing anything ever. Yeah, gaming's kind of like meh. Chaos disbanded. Who are you? Yeah, I don't know who you are. Here's a lot of nobody teams that I don't really know. Here's a C tier. They're an easy A. Yeah, this is a lot of nobodies that aren't good. 9Z teams like meh. Fate's like meh. Yeah, Eclipse is like meh. Hard Legions, meh. Like, there is a lot of not very good teams here. So I'm just gonna go through them quickly. Unicorns of Love, they're nobodies in CS. They're a League of Legends team through and through. Rooster's actually... Can I, like, scroll with it? Yeah, I can. Actually, where did I put them? C tier. They're C tier. They're also C tier. Who are you? Bad News Bears, they're a team made up of old 100... Actually, no. They're the team made up of old Chaos Esports Club people. So, they're competing in ESEA right now. They're C. Extremum, here's the team made up of Gen G and 100 Thieves formers. I'm excited to see what they can do. They're looking good on kind of the rankings right now, so they're B. Here's Imperium. They're C. Copenhagen Flames. I miss when Copenhagen Flames were good. They're C. Ninjas in Pajamas. What? Okay, well, there's 2 ninjas in pajamas. Well, where did the other one go? Oh, there they are. So I'll just put this one in. Are you even a CS team? Because I already put ninjas in pajamas in A tier. Astralis Talent, they're nobodies. That'll probably never be even on Astralis. I remember these guys from ESEA. They're C. Cloud9, here's the major pick. Will Cloud9 ever be good? No, they won't. Cloud9 is C tier, and if I'm being completely honest, I don't think they'll be doing anything major this year except potentially making some good events because of their players' histories. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to check out more videos on this channel, go ahead, watch them, like, subscribe, all that sort of good stuff. We'll have more CSGO content and such coming out very soon. And if you want to watch me talk about tournaments, games, and other stuff, check the second channel, which is here, or in the description. If nothing showed up there, just check the description for the second channel. I really like what I've been doing on the second channel, and I hope you guys do too. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll talk to you guys next time. Peace out.